Hey guys, good morning. Hope you have a great day. It's Tuesday, and just wanted to come on here and talk to you about being in the middle, of your life. I just listened to a message by Robert Madu. He's awesome. He's with Social Dallas, and the message is "It happens in the middle." And I posted it on my Facebook page, as I usually do. But so much there, so much content. But the message that I received from it is talking about when God delivers you. In the middle, there's an unfamiliar uncomfortableness in your life. And he referenced that to being on a plane. So riding on an airplane, he said he hated riding on an airplane because if he was in the aisle seat or he was in the window, that was great. But being in the middle was so uncomfortable as a passenger on the plane. And he even made a joke that the armrests aren't even yours. And like, you just don't know what to do because you're stuck in the middle, and it's just uncomfortable. And that is so true. I hate getting middle seats on an airplane. And so that's like our life. So he references it to our life. So when you get saved, and you are a new Christian, so you know, if you're new, he talked about how being new, you still have Egypt in you. So your behaviors haven't changed. Your title has. You've become a Christian, but with that title doesn't come all of the changes that the walk of Jesus is. That's a process. So, you know, you've been, say, an addict for 40 years of your life. You come to know Jesus. It's a process to like totally get that out of your mind. To renew your mind takes time, and it takes intentionality, and it takes hard work, and it takes not quitting. Okay, so it's so much easier to just say, you know, I just can't do this. Like, it's more comfortable. At least it's not as hard the way I used to be. At least I knew that dysfunction. At least I knew what to expect. But greater lies ahead. But in the middle, it's really uncomfortable. Like, you just don't know, you know, and I'm in the middle, I have to say, as I reflect over my life. Most of my life I was a certain way, and God delivered me and brought me to a new place. And this place is lonely sometimes. And, you know, I have God, and He's all I need. But, you know, I reflect and I say, you know, sometimes we reflect on only the good things. And it makes us just want to go back to Egypt. But God is faithful. And if He delivered you from Egypt, the promised land is just ahead. You know, the children of Israel wandered for 40 years. And, you know, He brought them out of Egypt in a second. And so, you know, you can be delivered in a second, even though you spent years in dysfunction. You can be delivered in a second. But those feelings, those emotions, those all that you had in Egypt doesn't just disappear. And so the things in our life don't just change, okay? It takes time, and it takes knowing that Jesus is enough in this season of your life, and that He is preparing, and He has a greater plan for you. And you just have to stay the course. No matter what, you have to stay the course. and you will reach the promised land. And greater lies ahead. You know, he gave the children of Israel manna to eat. They relied on him every day, you know, except for one. And he provided them the food. But he wants greater, because the land, the promised land, was filled with milk and honey. Okay, the manna tasted like that, was sweet, but the land was full of milk and honey. There was an abundance there. Okay, and so it was just flowing and pouring with that. And so we have to continue to believe in the promise that God has told us. We have to stay to the word and the truth that he's given us. So in your life, if you have become a new Christian, or he has delivered you from drugs or addiction, or an unhealthy relationship, or, you know, a life of just health. You know, he's restored your health from, like, maybe you're eating, maybe you've lost a lot of weight, and you know, you're eating those salads and you're eating that fruit, but you know, you're just craving that pizza and that fried food and all of that, and you just say, oh, I just want to go back. I just want to go back. Even though you've experienced, like, the freedoms that God has given you, and, you know, the goodness, you have seen the goodness of God, but you're tired. You're tired. But in the middle, you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing through, and you can't give up. That is when you lean into Jesus more and let him provide you with your every need. And so, you know, he talked about his dad wasn't a citizen. He came to America, and he met his mom, who was a citizen. But when he came to America, he hadn't never eaten pizza, and he hadn't ever watched football. The football that he had watched and known was soccer. And he had never seen snow. So he actually thought snow was dangerous, and he would run from it because he didn't know. He had never been around it, and it had fear. And pizza he had never tasted, and it was, like, probably disgusting. And football he hadn't watched that way. But he said now, so it was uncomfortable when his father became a citizen of America. Just like it's uncomfortable for some Christians who are new in Christ to become Christians, because it's a different way of life. It's a newness that you're not familiar with. You're only familiar with your dysfunction. But it takes time. It takes time walking in that new citizenship. You are a child of God now. And that takes time to get used to what that means, what that involves. And now his dad is a big Dallas fan, and he loves football and pizza, orders pizza while he watches football. And then he talked about how what he was once scared of, he now not only does it, like shoveling snow, but he shovels the snow of the neighbors. So he has been, all that time in America has taught him his new citizenship, and to embrace that, and to not go back, because greater is America than where he came from. But that took time, and it took effort, and it took not giving back, and the renewing of his mind took time. And that's the same thing with you guys. Whatever you've been delivered out of, you just got to give it time. And you know, They were in bondage. The children of Israel were in bondage for 400 years. So you may think a year or 2 or 3 or 4 that God's not going to come through for you. But it took 400 years, okay? And it's going to take longer than you are thinking. And don't let the enemy come in and make you feel like what and where you were was greater than where you are now. He can romanticize it for you because he knows your weakness. He knows he's trying to plan and plot and steal what God has promised for you. And you've just got to know the schemes of the enemy. And, Jesus is there. Cling to him. Cling to his promises. And just know that the enemy, when you get away from something for a while, you forget. You forget what it was truly like. But God will come in sometimes, like he did for me, and he will remind me, no, you're not remembering correctly. Nothing really is different. There are some changes, but not what you need, not what you're wanting and desiring and what I have planned for you. It's not time. You have to keep walking forward to the promised land. Wait on me. And that's what he's telling us, to wait on him. No matter how long you have to wait, it's better to wait on him. And I'll end with this. He talked about another analogy, which was awesome. He talked about this dog who had gotten hit by a car, and that it was pregnant when it got hit. But the dog, in order to walk, because its back legs were crushed, he had to throw his legs forward and scoot and pull himself forward. So the dog would throw and pull, throw and pull. That's not a natural way to walk. But the babies were delivered, and they were healthy, and they were whole, and there was nothing wrong with their back legs. They were healthy 100%. But when they started to walk, they walked like their mom. They threw their legs forward and they would scoot. And he talked about how the veterinarian had a really difficult time trying to get these dogs to walk normal, because their dysfunction and their model and their example, which was their mother, that they lived every single day in that dysfunction, that's what they modeled. That's what they did. So the vet had to work with them and undo all the dysfunction that they had learned their whole life. And that's the way it is with us in Jesus. When we were not in him, we had so much dysfunction and sin in our lives that it was normal to us. That is what we knew. But God did not design you that way. And he has a life better. And you're going to have to get that out of your system, and you're going to have to train your mind, and you're going to have to renew it. And that takes a daily walk with Jesus, just like the vet worked with those dogs daily. God has to be in your life daily. You have to be in his word. You have to be talking to him. He will give you all that you need. Okay? He will. But you have to go to him, and you have to rely on him for that. And the dogs walked normal after a time, but they really had to work hard at it with the person that could help them. Okay? God is the one that you have to work with daily. You have to allow him, the creator, to give you the life and to show you the life that he's created for you. You can't give up. You keep going. You're in the middle right now. Don't turn around. Okay? forward is greater. Okay? So I pray that you do not become discouraged, that you don't lose hope, okay? And that you just cling to Jesus tighter than you ever have. Pour your heart and your soul into him, and he will meet all your needs. And yeah, it might be lonely sometimes, but you know, God is your great comforter, and he will meet your needs. And so I hope you have a great day. Remember, Egypt's not good. Egypt is where you were a slave. And so you're now out of that bondage. And so freedom doesn't always feel free. But what lies ahead is far greater than what is behind you. So keep going, keep moving, keep it up. There's light at the end of that tunnel. Don't give up. All right. Have a great day.